Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. It is October the 3rd, which I guess means officially 1 month from today, November the 3rd. We will fire up the 2025-26 season. Glad you are with us today. Paul Oren from thevictorybell.com will join us in just a few minutes to begin our preseason or continue our preseason previews. Today we will double dip with the Beacons of Valparaiso University as Roger Powell got his team into the semifinals at Arch Madness a year ago. It's year number 1 of the Courtney Boyd experience at Valparaiso. So we'll talk about all that with Paul coming up in just a few minutes. If you haven't done so already, please head to YouTube, subscribe for free to Morning in the Valley. Like, share, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Help us out. Continue to get this fine show out in front of as many Valley-loving folks as we can. Headlines for today. I wish I had some harps and angels and hallelujahs to sing this morning, but we finally have a Missouri Valley Conference men's basketball schedule, and everyone's schedules are now complete. May not have times, but we have schedules. And I don't know, yesterday, the official release from the league didn't come out until later in the afternoon, and I don't know who was the first one that I think it was Illinois State, popped out with theirs about 9:30 in the morning yesterday, and then it was just the avalanche. It almost felt like a mutiny of just like, all right, it's one after the other, boom, 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 everybody individually, and eventually the league came up behind. But it is a couple of notes about this schedule that just kind of struck me when you look at it is that, number one, we're going to have games every day of the week this season. Teams are going to play, maybe not necessarily every day we'll have conference games, but I think pretty much every conference team will play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're not going to be in that Wednesday to Saturday, maybe some Tuesdays, maybe some Sundays routine that we've had for years and years. I believe everyone has 2 games prior to Christmas. The one thing I like about this schedule, I think, is you don't get that sort of false start late November, early December, and then go back to non-conference and then fire up, around the new year. You play your non-conference, and then we're into that 20-game marathon on the conference side. The part about this schedule that is going to be unique, and everyone's going to have to handle it in their own way, is with the odd number of teams, you're going to have some built-in buys. So you're going to have these built-in weeks off, 7 days off, 8 days off in between games. And I believe to every team, it's going to happen twice at some point in your schedule. But for the most part, outside of that, it is just game after game after game. There are stretches for pretty much every team. You've got 8 or 9 games where you will play every 3 days. Game, day off, game, rinse, lather, repeat. It's probably easier to lather, rinse, repeat, but you get the drill. I mean, it's just every 3 days for a month you are playing. And the part that is interesting to me about that is that, look, you got travel, you've got game prep. There's not a lot of time to get better and practice during the year. It's very difficult to spend time and go, we're going to work on us today, because you don't have time, because you got another game literally less than 72 hours, 48 hours from the time you wake up, and you got to go. So that's going to be something coaches are really going to have to monitor and work on throughout the season. Everybody's got scheduling quirks and some stuff that you can point to and be like, I like that. I don't like that. A couple things that jumped out. Thought Bradley, right out of the gate from the 1st of January in a 10-day stretch, they go to Belmont, to Murray, then they host Drake in Northern Iowa. That's a gauntlet. Evansville to start the year, host Belmont, host Drake, at Bradley, at Illinois State, home to Northern Iowa. Brutal. Illinois State to end the year. The folks that we think are going to be at the top and are going to be fighting for a championship, Ryan Pedon's bunch, to end the year. Home Murray, at Bradley, at Northern Iowa, home Belmont. They're going to finish the job. They will certainly have earned it. Indiana State to start. It's a brutal stretch with Bradley, Illinois State, Belmont, Northern Iowa, Drake. Murray State, they've got a 4-game stretch in the middle with Drake, Northern Iowa, Illinois State, and Belmont. And then SIU, I think they win the crown for the just most brutal first month. Their first 8 games, Illinois State, Bradley, Murray, Valpo, Belmont, UIC, Drake, and Belmont. Again, it's a gauntlet. it's going to be that way for everybody. And I think we can go through every team and just be like, this is awful. The depth in this league this year is really, really good. And it's October the 3rd. We don't know what that is going to mean ultimately. Is it feels like there's 8 and then maybe a drop off to the bottom 3. Could that become a 9? I mean, who knows where maybe the line in the sand is, but it is going to be a gauntlet for pretty much everybody. The 2 things that did jump out was in terms of the buys is that Southern Illinois will play their last regular season game February 24th, and then they have 8 or 9 days off prior to Arch Madness. Murray State has 1 game in the last 12 days of the regular season before they go to Arch Madness. So those are the 2 teams that get the most rest advantage going to St. Louis. Again, something we can worry about in 5 months, but those are really the only real scheduling anomalies. But it's a weird schedule this year. We'll have games, like I said, Mondays, Fridays, every day of the week. We'll have Valley basketball. That's kind of nice. And we'll spread things out a little bit. We don't have to have all 12 teams as it was, playing on a Wednesday night or whatever, but schedule's out finally. Hey, ladies, no idea when yours is coming. Absolutely none. Last thing I heard yesterday was the women's teams hadn't even gotten received preliminary schedules yet. So maybe next week, time will tell. All right. Time now to hop into our preseason previews here in the Missouri Valley Conference. And if we're going to talk Valpo, there's only one man to bring in, and he is the man from thevictorybell.com. And we are happy enough to tear him away from his candlelight vigil / tailgating for his Milwaukee Brewers. And that's why we just had to combat the bad juju this morning. Paul Oren, good morning to you, sir.
Hey, I hope we play in the NLCS.
That'd be great.
That would be fun.
That would be fun.
More likely is probably both of us are going to convene at an establishment somewhere in 10 days and lament on how great our regular seasons were for baseball, and wish that it was, 1992 again, when there was no division, just 2 divisions, and we were already playing for a trip to the World Series. We got old.
I don't know why I like sports. It's like, hey, I need to be, kicked south of the border just annually, depending on how many sports I like to follow multiple times a year.
Hey, at least baseball can't end in a tie. I don't know what to think about the NFL with my Packers the other day. Completely, I don't know what they were doing in the final moments. So, if when the Brewers get knocked out and the Packers continue to tie teams, that's when I just fully dive in to the Missouri Valley Conference, because why should I care about anything else? This can't possibly hurt me. So there we go. Thanks for the schedule breakdown. I know it came out yesterday. We had Valpo Basketball Media Day yesterday. So it wasn't until like 11:30 last night that I finally sat down to input Valpo's schedule.
Yeah. And
I realized, wow, there's one Saturday home game, the entire conference slate. What is happening? Like, and you're right. Like we're bouncing. We're playing on a Monday, playing on Fridays. Like, yeah. Is nothing sacred anymore?
I guess not. I mean, and like I said, I really think that the part that is going to be the biggest adjustment is just the rapid fire of games. Outside of those, hey, we get 7 or 8 days off because of the odd number of teams, so that's your bye. It is every 3 days, and that is just, it's a lot. It's a lot that I think is going to be, especially, look, if you get in a little bit of a funk, if if you're playing well, you just want to keep playing, but if somebody gets hurt, you get in a funk, it's going to be an adjustment that teams are going to have to adapt to this year.
Yeah. I was looking at like, oh, Valpo's got a tough start to the year. And then I'm like, every team has a tough start to the year. There's just
so many good teams.
Yeah. Well, there's only 5 good teams. Only 5 teams got ranked.
Yeah.
And everyone else is tied for 6th. So
I will
highest preseason ranking Valpo's had since they joined the Valley. This is great. Like,
I'll give you the floor for 30 seconds.
No, it's fine. Whatever. I mean, it's just what
Why did we vote for 11 if they're only going to give us the top 5? Just tell me to vote for the top 5, and I would have done that. What are we doing? Like,
whatever. It's
in the totem pole of things that matter, not at all. This is
preseason polls. Preseason polls don't matter. So whatever. It's Again, I put a tweet out. I said Valpo picks 6th along with
Correct.
5 other teams.
It's either tied for 6th, tied for last, however you want to look at it.
Well, I mean, what is it? Glass half full or glass half empty?
There you go.
So,
all right, let's start with those Valpo men. A season ago, they were the darlings in St. Louis as Roger Powell's bunch got on a heater for a couple of days and made it all the way to Saturday in St. Louis, beat UIC, beat Northern Iowa, and 15-19 overall, 6-14, 11th place in the Valley. But again, got hot and things were had the favorites on the ropes a little bit. One of the favorites there on the ropes. When you look back at last year, how much of a boost can a get to Saturday in St. Louis give you when 2 weeks later your roster has been completely decimated?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good moment. I think it was fun. I certainly enjoyed myself from covering it and seeing slowly but surely more fans show up in St. Louis. It was great. And then slowly but surely the entire roster disintegrate with the exception of Justice McNair. He's the only returner from last year. Jaden Watson is also a returner, but he's out for the year with a foot injury. So he redshirted last year. He'll be out again this year. So it's Justice McNair and friends. And now yesterday, Thursday, Valpo men's basketball held their media day. And, that came up a little bit, that run that they went on. And Roger Powell said, look, that got us in the spotlight a little bit, and it allowed us to probably get a few better transfers. And he's referencing Owen Deese and Isaiah Barnes, two guys that have come in, D1 transfers that have come in that they have really high expectations for. And I mean, Barnes, a former basically top 100 recruit out of high school, went to Michigan, ultimately ended up at Tulsa. I don't know if Isaiah Barnes comes to Valpo if not for making that run. That remains to be seen, right? And so, yeah, I mean, it was a fun moment, but it really doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, right? Like other teams might be able to point to building blocks that they put together last year, but Valpo doesn't have that. One of their assistant coaches is gone. Their director of player development is gone. Again, let me give a shout out to Lubos Barton, a friend who was named the Czech national team coach. I know you've got that on the bottom line here. Just awesome, so really, really appreciate that. And such a good guy. But, they've got AJ Moyes gone, and you bring in Jesse McClung, who brought in a lot of players with him. Jesse had been the head coach at St. Mary of the Woods. And, it would be nice to even pay any modicum of attention to last year, but it's irrelevant.
Okay. Well,
I mean, it just is. It's just the world we live in, right?
I get it.
And Jeff, I will also say this. It's colored my approach in looking into this year because I'm not even they're not building toward anything, are they? Is any team building toward anything with the exception of building toward Arch Madness? It's, they got a Brennan JUCO point guard, Mark Brown, who I think is going to be phenomenal this year, right? I think he's going to be a really, really good player, probably Valpo's leading scorer. If he plays as well as he's supposed to play, or I think he's going to play, he's probably not coming back. Right. It's just you'd like to hope, but all the metrics we have pointing to it say that he won't. And so it's that glass is half empty right now of what does all of this mean to look in the past and look in the future? You just got to be locked in to this right here.
I think the only counter to that is what you're building is historical equity, even in the short term of, listen, we have lost our two guys off of last year's team who, by the way, were all, they were the freshmen of the year in this conference, and they have gone on to Wake Forest in Cooper Schwieger, and All Right has gone on to Xavier. And it's okay, I think it just, it shows Roger Powell and staff they've been able to find guys and be able to bring them in. And hopefully you're look, it's hard to be able to push a narrative to recruits, or maybe not even recruits, but your fan base of like, we're going to bring these guys in, we're going to have them forever. It's like, we're going to bring them in, we're going to get the most out of them. Obviously, you've gotten a ton out of these guys, and then they're going to go. You just hope you've got enough other pieces around those big guys that you can catch that lightning in a bottle year. And then, look, we've done well, you've done well. You wish them well on their way out the door if that's what they choose to do. But the fact that there is enough recent success from individuals, and hey, we got to Saturday last year, that yes, the object is a little shinier in Valpo, that Roger Powell is dangling out in front of these recruits, that this is a place you want to come.
I agree. And something that's interesting to think about. And first of all, we look at Valpo a little bit. They've been in the league for 8 years now. They've made it to Saturday twice. They've made it to Sunday once. So, I mean, they've had some level of success. They've also not finished with a winning record at any point in their time in the Valley. So certainly a marathon, not a sprint. One of the things that I think is so interesting about this landscape that we're in right now is, so on October 11th, Valpo is going to do an open practice called Grit and Grill. They're going to do a little, morning practice ahead of a football game here, which will be a really kind of cool event. That will be the first time the Valpo fans have had a chance to meet these guys, right? Mm-hmm. They have been here since the last week of May. Like I was talking to Brody Whitaker yesterday in Media Day, and I said, and he's a diehard Pacers fan, and I asked him a question. I said, Brody, when you were on your visit here, the Pacers were getting ready to start the playoffs, basically. And when you committed, or when you moved in, the Pacers were in the playoffs. He's in the middle of summer workouts when Halliburton tears his ACL, or was it Achilles? Achilles,
yeah.
And like the Pacers will already be into their next season playing games before he ever really truly puts on a Valpo uniform. Like, that's how long the offseason is. But Whitaker and all these guys have been here for so long. And so I know that there's this idea that all these guys only come in for 4 or 5 months or whatever the season is. These guys have been putting in work for 6 months already, 5 months or whatever it is. And it's like, you put that picture of Cooper Schwieger up, and I mean no disrespect to Cooper. Like, I haven't thought about Cooper Schwieger in forever, because it has been forever since he was here, right? And Cooper and all, and I wish them well, I really do. But like, those guys are so far in the past that, because I have seen, not daily, but I've seen a lot of all these other guys, and it kind of blows my mind when I realize that Rock Chaney has yet to play a game for Valpo, and most Valpo fans that will be cheering him on have never seen this guy. The photos, for whatever reason, aren't up, and like, the guys got here in May, and it's just to me, it's kind of an interesting juxtaposition of college basketball now. These guys are all new, but they've also been here for half a year already, it feels like.
So the key departures, as we see there, Cooper Schwieger already. Yeah. Aside from the 31.5 points or so that is going to fall off of the offensive side of things, what's the biggest void that will be left by that collective duo that Coach Powell's hoping to fill this year?
Oh, I mean, well, obviously that collective duo is huge. I think the one that we're really overlooking is Darius D'Avero's departure. I mean, Cooper and all were the glitz and the glamour of that team, but Valpo fell apart against Bradley on Saturday in the tournament when Darius went out. Darius was the heartbeat of the team, had been the heartbeat of the team through the first 2 years of the Roger Powell era. Starting point guard for in and out of the lineup, but played his role in when his number was called. I think they're going to miss him a lot more than people are probably thinking about. Because you look at Cooper, you look at all, and justifiably so. Yeah. But Darius was a 4-year program guy, and he may very well be the last 4-year scholarship program guy.
Absolutely.
Which is tough to see. So for me, I think some consistency and continuity that you would get with Darius. I think the risk or reward of all. I mean, there were games where he would score 30 and Valpo would lose by 40. there would also be games where he would score 30 and Valpo would, wow the nation, which they did. We'll see how they do at their next stops. I think you're not going to see just two guys leading the charge every night this year. It may very well be a different guy every single night. It's probably to a lesser extent what Murray State's going to have with just a ton of different pieces.
Yeah.
Valpo brought in 4 guys to their press conference yesterday for media day, and I don't know that any 4 of those guys are going to start.
Mm-hmm.
There could have been 5 other guys out doing photos that might start, and I think they've got a lot of questions about who the guys are going to be that are going to be in that Cooper all position, and I don't know that they have just 2 guys. I think it'll be the sum of the parts kind of deal.
As we just hammer baseball analogies, you had 2 home run hitters last year, but now you're hopeful. You just got a bunch of dudes that can hit doubles. That maybe it's
look at the 2 best records in baseball. They're teams that get on base. They're the teams that lead in batting average, right? They're teams that we can look at all of the metrics out there about hitting home runs or striking out to really take the analogy further, right? And say, let's do a stars and scrubs if we're building a fantasy baseball team of get the 2 high-priced talent and then build around. But just give me guys that can get on base.
Yeah.
Give me Scott Hatterberg. Give me Dave Justice. Give me Jeremy Giambi, Moneyball, I guess I could say. So now the question I have is, some of these guys, the Isaiah Barneses of the world and the Owen Deeses of the world. I mean, Isaiah Barnes has got a really gaudy resume. I'm fascinated to see how it works out. There's another Moneyball quote of baseball. If he's a good hitter, why doesn't he hit good? And I think Isaiah Barnes is going to hit good, right? But I just think that is an interesting way to look at things here. Yes, Valpo had 2 home run hitters. Give me a bunch of guys that can do singles and doubles and extend the inning, and that would be, I think, better for Valpo this year.
We talk with most schools about key returners. We have key returner, as you said, in Justice McNair. We don't want to forget about Joe Vick and Nick Lombardi down there as well. But in terms of Justice, what do you think his role is going to be as the lone returner? There's always some sort of cachet maybe that goes with that. But look, he's a guy that averaged less than 5 a game last year. I mean, is there a role for him to step into that's a little more significant this year for the Beacons?
Yeah, look, people want to compare Justice and All last year because they were incoming freshmen. All played at a different level his senior year, playing at the prep level, right? He was playing against different kind of guys. He had just a little bit more experience coming in. There were games last year where Justice McNair single-handedly led Valpo to a victory. There were also games where Justice was not relevant to the team that was on the floor. These are things that he said out loud yesterday in media day, right? He said, look, I'm not a freshman anymore. I'm a sophomore. It is my time to kind of step up and be more consistent. And Roger Powell, he beams when he talks about Justice. He thinks, I mean, this was his first recruit that came in. I mean, the day after Roger Powell got the job, Justice McNair was committing to Valpo. I think he's going to play a huge role this year. Does he start? I think there's a question about how the lineups are going to be, right? I mean, I think Mark Brown starts at point guard. I think there's a role for Justice there at the 2, maybe. I think you'll see Isaiah Barnes and Owen Deese and then one of the bigs out there. And so we'll see what if Justice starts or Justice is first guard off the bench. But one thing I can tell you is that Justice has thrived in the elder statesman role, even though there's guys that are 3 or 4 years older than him on the team. He has really, really taken pride in doing what Darius did when Roger Powell got the job. As soon as there was a recruit that committed, Darius got their phone number, called him up. Hey, what do you need? What do you have questions about? Whatever. That's Justice right now. Justice is a guy that basically said, look, I'm the only one who knows what it's like around here. So I'm going to set the Valpo standard. And I think that he's embraced that role and guys will build off of that.
You've talked about Isaiah Barnes coming in from Tulsa. was at Michigan as well, I believe, correct? And then
Yeah.
Owen Deese at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. The three guys that I'm interested in from sort of off the path in terms of additions. You mentioned Mark Brown Jr. coming from Snow College, 61st, I think was the ranking in the JUCO recruiting coming out of last year. Sean Topola, is that
you tell me and then we'll both know.
I'm
Sean.
I'm riding with Big Sean right now. Just a condominium with feet, 6'10", 245, 14 and a half, 12 and a half at St. Mary of the Woods. And then Carter Hopoy.
Yeah.
Hopoy. I'm nailing it this morning. 6'11", lean, but out of New Zealand, has a lot of international experience there. Out of those three, who's maybe the one that you've get a sense now, a month out, that might have the most immediate impact from
I think Mark Brown. I think Mark Brown will be the starting point guard. I think Mark Brown will be phenomenal. I think he's going to be really good. Look, this is tough to put it this way, but he was top 60 to 61st JUCO. I don't think Isaiah Stafford was that high, and Stafford was really good.
Right.
So I think Brown is going to come in. I think he's going to play an immediate role. He has got it's funny when I look at the picture you've got up there. It doesn't do justice to how broad his shoulders are. He is a bowling ball, and he is very reminiscent of a Valpo player that is from Chicago from about 10 years ago, a little bit like 12 years ago, by the name of Levante Doherty. Levante was a Chicago kid, went to South Florida to start his career, and then, ended up, back at Valpo and played really well. And Mark Brown has the same body. So what does Roger Powell go out and do? He hires Levante Doherty to join the staff, and Levante is now working with Mark Brown on a daily basis. And Levante, Levante, there isn't a better role model for a Valpo basketball player than Levante Doherty, and Mark Brown is lapping up the information every single day. So I think you're going to see a lot from him. Now, Big Sean, Carter, Kobe Walker, JT Pettigrew, Tucker Tornada. This is size that Valpo has brought in. Not to mention Isaiah Barnes and Owen Deese, who've got size and length. This is what Valpo had to be. This is what they had to become, was a longer, lengthier team. If you are going to go up against Chase Walker, if you are going to go up against the bigs that Murray State has or Belmont has or Drake has or Bradley has, right? You need bigger size. And Kaspar Sepp was not getting it done for Valpo in terms of that. No one was going to work harder than that kid. It's great that he's at Cornell now, but Valpo needed more size. They could not trot out an undersized big and just hope that hard work was going to take care of that. So now they've got some girth, some size in there. Big Sean, Kobe Walker are teddy bears off the court. They're the nicest guys. They are, you want to talk about guys who are just so happy for the experience that they're going through. It is a joy to see those guys every day. And then they get on the court. I wouldn't want to guard them. I wouldn't want to touch them. I wouldn't want to have the ball while they're guarding me. And they got 10 fouls to use between Kobe and Sean. I have a feeling all 10 of them are going to be used. And the ice baths will be needed for teams when they play Kobe and Sean.
There's no bonus getting to take those fouls home with you. Schedule-wise, man, it is rare at this level that you have 11 non-conference games and you get to play 7 of them in your own barn. And yes, you've got some big games, guarantee games at Kentucky, at Marquette, at Northwestern. But this is everything with me with scheduling. It's all about metrics. And this is a metric-friendly schedule for a team that is, obviously, you got one guy back. It is question marks abound, but it's like you have Eastern Illinois and Nichols and Bryant and Southern Indiana and Western Michigan. Man, it's quad four. And those are teams that, look, you can take care of business at home. It's just, and we'll talk about this with Courtney Boyd's bunch here in a bit. It's like you just get some confidence early to just go get some wins and get your legs under you before, as we talked about a few minutes ago, you get into an absolute meat grinder of a conference schedule right before Christmas.
Yeah, there's 4 games that are going to be really tough. You got Kentucky, you've got Marquette, you've got Northwestern, you've got UNC Wilmington. I mean, those 4 games are going to be pretty tough games. UNC Wilmington's a really good program, right?
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, you got to hope that you take care of business in those other games. And I mean, the playing 3 bye games is not exactly something that Valley teams want to be doing, but you kind of have to do it if you are trying to build resources for your program a little bit. Love the fact they're getting a chance to go to Kentucky because it's Kentucky. And, I'm talking to the guys yesterday about what games stand out on their schedule, and they're all elated to go to Kentucky. It is the blue blood of college basketball, right? And so you've got that. Then, Marquette for me, I mean, I'm from Milwaukee. Like I get to go into the bowels of the house that Giannis built and run around, and hopefully the Bucks are around that week and they decide to take in a college basketball game, So, I think, and there's good, you've got Western Michigan, which is they should play that game every year. It's 2.5 hours away. It's a great MAC rival. There you go. Yeah. And then you're right. The Valley schedule. I mean, it is, you start at home with the team that I think is going to win the league, Murray State. And then you go to Northern Iowa and you go to Southern Illinois. And I guess, you're on the road for New Year's Eve, but you get some of your longer trips out of the way early when classes aren't happening, which is nice. Right. And that's an advantage right there. You get 2 of your 7. And I actually think I'm trying to think of when classes start for Valpo. They might start the second week of January, but even then you get the game at Murray out of the way earlier as well, right? And again, I think Murray is a team that's going to be standing there at the end, and so if you're playing them twice within your first 6 conference games, I'd rather play them earlier in the year than later in the year because I think they're going to gel together really well. There is a stretch that is really nice for Valpo. They play at Belmont on January 13th. Then they come home, and they don't leave again until January 31st when they play Indiana State. They've got 3 home games there, UNI, Southern Illinois, and Belmont during that stretch. Kind of odd they play Belmont on the 13th and then the 28th, kind of 2 games in between. But Valpo gets to sleep in their own bed. You talked right before I came on about maybe the difficulty of when can you find time to practice? When can you find time to get better? That 2-week stretch will be the key to the season for Valpo in terms of being able to stay at home, being able to get practice time in, not having to travel back and forth and things like that. And it'll set them up for a tough, February where they go to at Indiana State, at Bradley, home for Evansville, at Drake, at Illinois State. You got 4 road games out of 5. And it's unavoidable now. The Valley used to be so good at having home away, home away, home away. And I think the idea now is like, let's try to have a little bit more travel, not partners, but at least save money on, you get them on the road, and so, it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out.
Well, we got the official Missouri Valley Conference preseason poll. Valpo tied for 6th. The Blue Ribbon preseason poll has the Beacons coming in at number 10. What is your optimism that they can outperform that number?
I picked them 9th, but it's throwing spaghetti against the wall. It really is, right? Like, Illinois State's like the runaway pick to win the league because they bring that,
though, and I said this the other day. I was shocked that Murray State got even 4 first place votes. That and maybe Northern Iowa got as many as they did. But the fact that anybody picked outside of Illinois State and Northern Iowa shocked me, especially when you could vote for your own teams. So it wasn't like, well, we have to pick somebody, like the Illinois State contingent was stuck somewhere. So sorry to interrupt, but they have no players back, and I appreciate it. But it's like all we banged on is since April that all this retention in Normal and all this retention in Cedar Falls, and it's like, oh, by the way, the team over here with 15 new guys, they're going to be the picks.
Here's my thing. I want to just say this. I think it is well established on record how much I enjoy Illinois State, their fan base, Redbird Twitter. I make a point to hang out with them all the time at Arch Madness, things like that.
Let me get my seatbelt on here. Go
ahead.
I
think it's well established. I have a lot of respect for that program. Ryan, excellent coach. A lot of respect for that guy. I think Chase Walker is a really, really good basketball player. I think Johnny Kinzinger is a really, really good basketball player. I think we have crowned this team because those two guys did something that seems extraordinary now, but used to be normal. They came back to school. And that should be celebrated. I'm not like, it's awesome they came back. They also went 10-10 last year in conference. And I know they got other players. It's not just a two-person team. I'm used to covering a two-person team. So, I think Illinois State's going to be there at the end. I think they're going to be in the mix at the end. But I was kind of shocked at just how much of a runaway pick they seem to be. Although, I will say this, I don't think I could name players on half the teams in this league, and I've researched all of them, right? Yeah. I couldn't tell you the Valpo guys. This is why Valpo, it's really easy to pick Valpo at the bottom because no one knows who these guys are.
Right.
No one knows.
Why are you picking Murray first? Or, 4 people saying that they're first. Look, I get that there's crowning people in March. That's a whole different animal. We crowned Illinois State in April to crown them in October. That was this part of the process. The rest of the process obviously has to play itself out, and there's a lot to figure out from here on out. Your argument about Valpo being at the bottom because they didn't have anybody back, and it's and yet the Racers got first place votes. Listen, from everybody's lips to God's ears. I'll be happy in my little corner of the woods if that happens. I was shocked, especially and you hear it from corners like, hey, the Racers have, they've underperformed for 3 years, and we thought they were going to be this, and they haven't done that, and so breaking through this legacy media in the Valley, it just shocked me.
I'll say this. I think Murray State had really good PR. And I mean, kudos to you, but even beyond that, it felt like every day for 2 straight months, they added a new player to their roster. I just brought their roster up now. I'm surprised there's only 36 people on it. I thought there were 90, And so it's every day they added a new piece. And at one point I thought, are they going to, is Murray State B team the 12th team in the Valley? Is that what we're doing here? And so Murray State's got the same issue that Valpo's got, albeit on a different level, maybe. Can you pick a starting 5 today off that Murray State team? I don't know who they are. I mean, I'm sure Coach Miller knows who they are. I'm sure Coach Mullins knows who they are. I'm sure the play-by-play announcer might know who they are. But to me, I just felt like there's just a lot of depth out there. But again, I want to go back. I am not trying to be critical of Illinois State. It's just we do this thing where it's look at Drake. We completely overlooked Drake last year. I mean, I know I did. What's a Bennett Sturts? Never heard of a Bennett Sturts before. Was he good at another level before he got to Drake? Yeah, he was, but whatever. We don't, no one paid any attention to them. And they ran roughshod through the league. Who's going to be that team this year? Yeah. I picked Murray State.
Okay.
So, right. and probably if Drake doesn't do what they do last year, I'd probably pick Illinois State this year. You know what I mean? But yeah, they didn't even let us do a preseason all league team because we don't know any of these guys.
Right. That was the preseason decision.
A 20-person watch list that you might even be on. I mean, it's we'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's close the book on the gentlemen. Time to flip our attention now to the Valparaiso women, coming off a 13-19 season, 9-11 in the Missouri Valley, 8th overall, got knocked out by Bradley in the opening round of the tournament, and we got a coaching change. Mary Evans' tenure coming to a close, and welcome in to the Courtney Boyd era.
That is my favorite photograph right there. If you want to know Courtney Boyd, that photo is It's amazing. I saw that when they put it up, and I just said, "Put it in the Louvre." Like, what a great! You've got Raven in the back. Someone must have. I'm guessing somebody hit a shot late in a drill or something like that, and I can just see that she's going to blow the whistle and pump her fist. She is all energy all the time.
I've looked at that photo, and and there's no caption with it, but it's like I feel like you could caption it any of 20 different ways, and
Yes.
all 20 ways are all awesome. Like that, whatever she happened to be doing. She takes over a program that has one winning season in the last 16 years. And when we talked back in April when she was hired, the main message and the main selling point for her and her staff trying to put together a roster was, we're selling opportunity here. 6 months later, how has the opportunity filled the cabinet?
I can't wait to watch this unfold. And it might not be pretty. They're dealing with a couple injuries right now. Macy Rhodes, the senior, is kind of inching her way back. She might not play. We'll see. She had a surgery, like a hip surgery. Nuala Connolly, an incoming freshman, is it looks like she's got an ankle or something like that. I think she had surgery. Raven is still coming back from a torn Achilles, so they're banged up a little bit. But man, are their practices high energy? They are fun. I have spent a good amount of time around Courtney, just away from basketball and just getting to know her a little bit about her philosophy. And she is not looking for a one-year fix. She is looking to build a culture. And she has been very, very pointed about, I want to find people that want to become part of that culture and set the standard. And she has been very clear, and I know you had her on the show. She has been very clear about saying something. And I at first I didn't really understand this, but the more I thought about it, it makes sense. She said at the end of the game, if we're up by 25 or we're down by 25, if you look at our bench, you shouldn't see a difference in the way that we carry ourselves. We're going to give it our all every single night, win, lose, or draw. Right. She's brought in a handful of new players, a lot of freshmen, some that she knew, some that she didn't know. Jeff, it's an interesting approach because she's got a couple D1 transfers that maybe did not have success at their previous stops, albeit having very impressive resumes coming in. And then NAIA and D2 and D3 players. You look at individually and like, is this a recipe for success? No.
But she knows as well as anybody, coaching at those levels, there are dudes.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm on one hand, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. And on the other hand, I'm like, she's going to do it. Like, she's going to, like, you gave her the keys. You got to let her drive the car. And I think she's a good driver. And I can't wait to watch this unfold. The players are adoring the process right now. Like, the vibes around the team, they're great. And I can't wait to watch it unfold. I think it could be a tough year, but I will be there for as much of every step of the way as I can. The schedule doesn't do any favors. There's a lot of crossover between the men's and women's and stuff like that. Like, the season opener is at DePaul. The men play the same day.
Sure.
Then they go to Detroit Mercy. And then, Valpo football's got a game that day. They go to Iowa State. They go to they do have a double header with more. They don't play a lot of home games, right? They really don't. And part of that is baptism by fire on the road. And the staff is fantastic. There's some great personalities there. I think at the end of the year, the record might not be great, but the experience, I think, is going to be a wild ride.
When we talk about the departures off last year, aside from a head coach, you lose your top 4 scorers, led by Leah Ernest, who, is on a short list of best players to ever walk the halls there at Valpo. Nevaeh Jackson as well. She goes to Butler with her sister, Tsanaya, who which I just realized this morning. Their brother Jalen goes to Butler too. Maybe shouldn't have been surprised. That was ultimately the landing spot. But especially somebody like Leah, who was, I mean, just did everything. And you have sung her praises for the years that we have spoken about her. What are the intangibles? Forget all the on the court stuff. What's the intangible stuff that like new coaching staff, but boy, just such an impactful centerpiece to that program for the last.
Yeah, I mean, she'll be missed without question. She was actually on the staff for a little bit. She went through spring workouts with the team as a grad assistant, and was back for the summer for a little bit before she got an opportunity she couldn't turn down as an assistant coach at Wisconsin Stevens Point. She's from Stevens Point. She's got her family is all there and everything, and Jeff, that was a tough one for me to watch her leave. She designed the logo for the Victory Bell as well, and we've said all the good things, but I think if you're going to look at it from a positive standpoint, like, you don't now have someone who is kind of telling you how things used to be.
Right.
And so this group now can move forward. They really, with the exception of Kayla Preston, there's nobody on the roster who's been on the roster for more than, one season. And so, I mean, Raven and Kayla Preston are the two that were here. They're juniors now. Everybody else was new last year and new this year. And so it really is, a fresh approach. Looking forward to a jump up from Kylie Watashik, I think is how you say her name. I think she has a kid who showed some flashes last year. She has the ability to knock down some shots. She's longer. She's 6'2". She can park herself in the corner and knock down some shots. She can also be aggressive and get to the basket. And I think having other size around with Milana Nenedick and Cameron Winich, Cameron Winch, this is going to allow some more size to play. And that, Jeff, will be the biggest difference for Valpo basketball. Is Mary Evans came from a philosophy of you shoot threes or you score right at the basket, but she wanted more people shooting threes. She didn't want mid-range, and she didn't really want a back to the basket center. That's gone now. And so I think you're going to see a different kind of approach, and maybe Valpo work the ball inside a little bit more. And it'll just look different. The product is going to look different just from a sheer offensive philosophy.
Talk about the 4 leading scorers gone. It's sort of almost a welcome, an embarrassment of down the board riches for Courtney Boyd, in the fact that you return the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 11th, and 12th leading scorers from last year. That so many times you see coaches come in, it's like, all right, I got to go find 15 new kids, but at least there's a nucleus, and your point, maybe not having been there, all of them for that long, and she can mold them. You're not trying to break habits, but that's got to be helpful for Coach Boyd. And the second part, I guess, also, you said Macy Rhodes dealing with an injury. Don't know what her status will be. Raven Ray Redmond, who tore her Achilles last year. What is the prognosis for her? And Achilles, look, at this point, that's a year before you're able to get back. And then are you even really at 100% until maybe the year after that? A lot of questions at once. Feel free to answer what you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, Raven, first of all, is one of the most, she is worth the price of admission. Like, I've said this about Raven, and she'll steal the ball and then, pass it ahead to a teammate, but Raven moves at a speed that few other people move at. And so that pass is going somewhere else sometimes. But what she brings to the court, I mean, it really hurt when she was injured last year, and it happened the final game of the non-conference. She's standing at the top of the key, going to make a dribble and move against Detroit, and she just crumples to the ground. And everyone knew immediately what it was. It was viscerally a really, really hard moment to see. She's running, she's back. I mean, she's moving, but she's doing a lot of stuff on the bike during practices. So I don't think she's been, I have not seen her do 5-on-5s or anything like that. Fiona Conley is going to be the leader of this team. She's a senior, transfer from LaSalle a year ago. Great kid. kind of was in and out of the starting lineup at times last year. And I think she'll definitely be a centerpiece of the team. One of the other players I think is really interesting, and this is something that I think from one of the newcomers' perspectives, the first recruit that Courtney went out and got was Michaela Huffine, who played for her at Quincy. And she basically said, Michaela, I'm not really sure if there's playing time here, but I need you in the locker room because I need you to let them know what a Courtney Boyd coached team, how they act in the locker room. And Michaela has been phenomenal. She's a senior leader on the team, and she's been great. And then you mentioned Kayla Sullivan back there. There might not be a player on the team that I'm more intrigued to see than Kayla Sullivan. She's got length, she's got size, she's got the ability to mix it up and go grab some hard rebounds.
JUCO All-American too.
Yeah, she can finish at the basket. Her faith is incredibly important to her. This being a Lutheran school, and Kayla is more than just a basketball player around here, and she's going to be fun to kind of see. There's some interesting stories on this team, and I don't know that they're going to compete. I mean, Courtney has said this, like I don't know that we're going to compete for a conference title this year.
Yeah,
Jeff, I don't know how many wins they're going to have this year. I don't know where the wins are going to come from, but the process is going to be interesting to watch. I can't wait. I'm probably more excited to watch this team grow together than I am to watch the depth of the men's basketball. Those are the two big storylines. The depth of the men's basketball team, does it translate? And the growth of the women's basketball team. Those are the two big storylines surrounding Valpo. And I can't wait to see. No one's going to be picking either one of these teams to do anything this year. I'm honored that I get the chance to be there for the journey.
8 of their first 9 games away from home, only 3 non-conference games at the Arc. But again, this didn't become a suicide mission in terms of a schedule. When you look at least last year's net ratings, 8 of the 11 teams they're going to face were Q4 games a year ago. You're going to go to Iowa State. You go to Cleveland State. There was a quad 2, DePaul as well. So it's again, all the new, especially at the top with the head coach. It feels manageable, which almost it has to be if you're just never going to play at home. You just can't kill your kids and then be sleeping out of hotels, in hotel beds for 2 months.
So Dale Linderwell is the coach that came in. He has worked as a volunteer assistant for Courtney for like almost close to a decade at different spots. And I know that she was thrilled to be able to get him a spot at Valpo. And Dale is, the guy, he's just fun, like they're doing 6 a.m. workouts and he's just destroying everybody when they're doing these mile runs and everything. But he's the one in charge of scheduling, and he came in and he just said, all right, this is what we got in front of us. There are a couple of contracts I already had signed, but this could be a tough year. But guess what? They can get a lot of return games next year.
Right. So
maybe in year 2, now you got more home games and you build toward that a little bit. And so they got a good tournament at Cleveland State. Cleveland State's a team they've got some history with in the Horizon League, playing a couple teams there. Again, you get DePaul, you get Iowa State, you get some money infused in your program a little bit, which, let's be honest, that's what it's all about at this point, like to try to build the coffers a little bit. The schedule is going to be tough. I can't wait to see the conference schedule and see how that shakes out, because can they get like 5 of their first 7 at home, please, in the conference schedule, so they can, I guess we'll see how that unfolds. And I'm sure that's coming some month at some point. We'll see when that is.
We'll see. I guess technically we don't need it till Christmas, so they've got.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They've got a little bit of time. He's Paul Oren, victorybell.com. Thank you for your extended stay with us this morning, hitting both teams. And this weekend, best of luck with the Brewers. And
hey, you know what? Good luck to the Phillies as well. I hope that I just hope it's a fun watch for both of our teams. I hope both teams have fun.
I've watched enough playoff baseball to know I will not have any fun.
No. I don't even know. I don't even know if I can watch on Saturday. I got a Valpo football game to cover on Saturday.
I've got the same deal with Murray. Just let me know how it ended, and we'll deal with it.
Yeah. I got Valpo football, Valpo soccer. I'm sure we'll go find some Valpo swimming somewhere. Anything to avoid having to watch the Cubs do mean things to my team.
Paul Oren, thank you, brother. Have a good weekend. There you go. I got to get you out of here. All right, there is Paul Oren. All right. One last note before we get out of here this morning, and this is probably the we haven't talked about the NCAA in 10 minutes, but Ross Dellinger from Yahoo reporting that the NCAA is now, quote, inching toward 76 teams in the 26-27 season, which I think that if in the end you've been paying attention, and if in the end you've had any ultimately common sense about this whole situation, this is coming. We knew it was coming. That we got a stay of execution for you traditionalists this year, that they were able to table it and kick it down the road, but it's coming. There's no question. The breakdown, I guess, of how details sketchy, as we like to say in the journalism world. 12 opening round games, which would mean that the top 52 teams would be protected. How those are broken down, I don't know. Don't know who's safe. Are the at-larges? I mean, are the AQs safe? I'm imagining that there will be 12 games, they said. So that probably means you break that down into, much like it is already, Tuesday and Wednesday. And instead of playing, there'll be two sites. We've heard, Dayton, and I've heard Albuquerque thrown out there, is that you'd have 3 games each day in both of those sites. And then, the 12 games, you get 12 winners. They get thrown into the prior 52, and then you got your 64. I'm going to imagine that it'll be the 16s. Maybe they throw the 15s in there. Whether it becomes kind of like just an expanded version of what we already have, where you've got the last at-larges, and maybe it's not the last 4 in, maybe it's the last 8 in that go. I don't know how that's going to be broken down, but 76 is coming. And if you heard Jeff Jackson, Missouri Valley Conference commissioner, earlier this week on the Field of 68 media day, and he was like, there's no tap dancing around it for the commissioner. He's like, we want more. We need some more margin for error because, again, Indiana State 2 years ago left out at the very last second. Last year, Drake got in with the AQ, but boy, if they'd lost Sunday, it'd have been a long week waiting to see if they got in as an at-large. So, but that is the tentative plan right now. Again, that the NCAA and TV executives, all that, they are inching toward 76 teams. So you've got a whole year now to prepare emotionally. Grab those pearls, clutch them like crazy, but 76 seems to be coming, no question, as early as next season. Okay, that does it for an elongated morning in the Valley today. Glad you were with us. If you have not done so already, please head to YouTube, subscribe for free. Search out Morning in the Valley, like, comment, share. Get this out in front of all your college basketball loving friends, and we certainly appreciate that. Next week, I think it's Wednesday, we will have the head coach of the Northern Iowa Panthers. As I check my calendar just to double check, nope, not. It's Monday. Let's go. Monday, we will have Ben Jacobson, the head coach of the UNI Panthers. He will join us, and Media Day is coming. We've got 2 weeks away. We've got the Women's Media Day. The 20th and 21st, I believe, is the dates for the Men's Media Day. Yes, 2 weeks from Monday and Tuesday. So Media Days are coming. Hopefully, we're going to get a schedule on the women's side. We'll see as well. But we'll have all that for you as soon as it comes to our attention. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Glad you're with us today. We'll see you Monday morning. Ben Jacobson in the house. Thanks for watching Morning in the Valley.